On this AVNation special, we are previewing Digital Signage Expo 2019 by talking with the University of Illinois about their unique digital signage deployment. All that and more. Next on this AVNation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special. Higher Ed, Digital Signage. This is an AVNation special. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. What we're doing is we are previewing DSE, Digital Signage Expo 2019, comes your way in March in Las Vegas, Nevada. With me today to talk about some education, higher education, digital signage installations that he's been involved with. Thomas Kunke. Thomas is a senior application specialist with the University of Illinois, just north of me. Welcome, sir.
Yep. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So real quickly, U of I, University of Illinois, U of I, for those of us in Illinois, we get to say U of I. You guys have an interesting digital signage deployment, and I'm going to use that word very, very loosely. Not that it's not big, because it is. It's quite large. But you don't have one customer like most of the technology managers that I've run into. And I used to be a technology manager. I get this. But at a college like University of Illinois, you have several schools. You have the School of Business, the School of Engineering. Right. So each one of those entities is almost like a group among unto themselves.
Correct.
How do you manage the needs of each of those groups?
Very carefully. I think as a service manager, it's important to really know how these groups are using their signage. We started this whole enterprise about 12 years ago, and it came about as part of departments asking not only for installation of signs physically, but the follow-up question was, how do we manage the content after? And at the time, we also there were two brand new buildings being built, and as part of the AV requirements, there was digital signage specified, but there was no standard for content management behind it. So, normally our AV group wasn't typically concerned about the software end of it, but rather just installation of hardware. So we had two holes in the ground, essentially, that buildings were being built by two totally different departments, but they had common needs. That, along with, the departments is constantly coming to our group saying, hey, how do you manage content on these displays? That became kind of a mandate to develop a service to kind of bring everyone together in one platform to help, reduce costs, make content sharing easier, emergency notification, that sort of thing.
So all of the screens throughout the campus, you guys are all using one content management software, one CMS?
I wouldn't say all. We do have outliers. Since we are a cost recovery operation, there are some groups who look at any cost as being, too much. So we do have a few groups on campus that have gone their own way. Even a few of our customers that use our content management backend, they also have, some pilots of other things, that they want to try out, as opposed to our solution. But, all in all, we have about 430 signs in 27 major units that are on our service, and we're growing.
So walk me through the deployment of a new system, or maybe even a new school, a new group of folks who they call you up and say, Thomas, I don't know, it's the School of Underwater Basket Weaving, which is an old education joke that some of you will get. We want to put in some digital signage. How does that conversation work? Do they say, is it really, they really are your client, where you're trying to walk them through kind of a needs analysis and some of their pain points and figure out, who's going to manage this, who's going to purchase it, how this kind of all works?
Right. Yes. That's pretty much it. I get a lot of requests coming from various groups, maybe inquiring about new signs. They get a new director, new communications manager in, and they want to start using digital signage. So in some cases, they may need signs installed. That first step of the whole, digital signage value chain. But other groups, they might even have signs already installed that they have no content management system behind. And they need our services to drive those signs. I have a situation like similar to that right now where there's one group I'm starting to work with, might be a brand new customer. They want one sign installed, so I'm doing a needs analysis, working with them, site visits, that sort of thing. I have another group that also wants, I believe, 2 signs put up, but they also have 4 existing signs that are blank right now because they have no content management system behind it. So it can kind of come in on all different directions.
What's some of the biggest hurdles that you guys have found as you're talking with clients, whether they're existing ones or new ones, when you're starting to put in new displays, maybe in a new area, or like I said, in a new school?
I think the big hurdles, they vary. A lot of it is financial. People think that they can go to Best Buy or whatever, buy a display and put it up. That story. If I'm proposing installation, I try to propose digital signage rated displays and go through the full process of doing drawings and make sure everything's nice and professional. So sometimes, the installation costs and the cost of the services, that could be overwhelming to some smaller groups that we're looking at an entry point much lower than we can offer, even though I believe our services they do take what is normally a very expensive service and reduces the barrier to entry down to something manageable. Some other challenges we face is content creation and management. My organization does not do that. That is all up to the individual groups. And when I speak to groups, I am sure to mention that, and I try to encourage them to find the right people within their organization, or even outsource their content development to a creative company or something like that.
Is that something where you guys is it something where you can introduce them to some relationships that you have, or is that something that is wholly on their own to go kind of figure out?
A little bit of both. We're not going to mention vendor names, but the vendor that provides our content management solution does also provide creative services. So some departments have gone to those professional services to create interactive wayfinding, for example, stuff that is above your average content. But a lot of the content creation, I tend to do training whenever I have a new department coming on board, or if a department has turnover in their own ranks, where their content manager gets a new position on campus or somewhere else. I can train whoever takes their place.
Go ahead.
Oh, and I think that's one of the key benefits of having a model like ours. It's a campus level service, is that there is that turnover protection, so to speak, where a person can, digital signage is never an organization's highest priority. So when the person who's maintained the content decides to leave, they might not have a transition plan to the next person, but I can kind of fill in that gap and train that person. And it's a common service, so that each group is not doing it their own special way. I can kind of bridge that gap and get them up and running quickly.
Oh, very cool. You mentioned you kind of making sure that the system keeps moving and going on even through transitions.
Right.
How many folks do you recommend get involved in the actual content creation or the content management on a weekly or monthly basis?
I would say it's highly depending on the organization. My customers range from having one sign to having upwards to 130 signs. And that group,
You have a customer that has 130 signs on campus?
yes.
Good night.
Yeah, we have, that is, I'll say right up front, that is our College of Engineering. They have a very large presence on our digital signage area. And even within the College of Engineering, they have 14 independent academic units with digital signage. So it's, it's like kind of, there's a common service, and then there's, the college level, and then there's a departmental level, and they have some college level coordination. So there's a lot of people involved, in that sort of organization. Our College of Aces also has a lot of people involved with content creation at the lower levels, but they have a person coordinating it with my service at the college level. So, okay.
What advice would you give somebody who's just starting out in this process, and whether it's a small community college where I came from, or it's somebody that's a larger campus like the University of Illinois, if they're just starting out this process, and hopefully if it's a larger campus, it's just one school they're dealing with, what advice would you give them, and maybe some traps to help them avoid?
Well, again, I think a key is for whoever's leading the operation to kind of understand not only how digital signage works and the whole value chain, from installation, design, content creation and management, lifecycle replacements, managing the IT and security aspects, but also understanding their own organization and their own campus. I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of people from other institutions via contacts through Digital Signage Expo and through EDUCAUSE even, which is higher education IT. So it's important for whoever is approaching this to understand where their deployment is in the spectrum. Are they deploying something very locally and isolated? If they are they missing out on something that might be happening at a higher level, such as what would be here? We try to advertise our services and make it known that we have campus level services, but a lot of people don't get that message or whatever, and they might try to install something locally that doesn't match up to what we're trying to do at the campus level, which might have them incur a lot of extra costs and go, kind of, off on a tangent compared to where everyone else is. So someone approaching this, new, should kind of understand what it is that they're doing, and if there is some sort of, higher level effort on their campus to, maybe tap into that, or if they are truly like the first adopter of signage on their campus, maybe look for others to partner with, because there are a lot of different needs on college campuses that require digital signage. One of my big things is the AV industry, the signage industry says that higher education is a vertical market, but my reply to that is, well, we have lots of vertical markets, represented on our campus. We have, student unions, academic buildings, museums, athletic facilities, even transportation. One of my customers is Willard Airport. We have an airport. So,
I think you might be unique in that, even within the education community.
No, I've ran across a few others,
Really?
other institutions that have aviation operations. Yeah, but we are a little bit unique in that respect. But it's important that people understand that their needs fall under this common umbrella of digital signage that other units might have and might be elevated to a campus level.
Very good. That'll kind of wrap us up from there. Thomas Kunka, from University of Illinois. Thomas is a senior application specialist. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
If somebody wants to find you, whether that's at DSE or just in general, how would they do that?
Well, my email address is tskunka@illinois.edu, and we'll have a higher education, lunch session at DSE. And there's also a users group for digital signage and higher education with EDUCAUSE.
All right, very good. Yeah, and EDUCAUSE is also a great event as well. I've been there a number of times. So we are talking about DSE, Digital Signage Expo 2019. Comes your way March 26th through the 29th in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. You can follow us, AVNation, at avnation.tv. We will be going there as well, so you can check that out at avnation.tv, avnation.tv.